Yay, we are live. Awesome, awesome. Hi, Jamie, Sue, Louise. Hi, Joyce. Gonna give it just a second, make sure that my stream stays in excellent condition, and so far it is. Yay. And I missed getting something. I'm gonna go ahead and play the intro and we'll get started while I grab a coffee filter. And a shout out to EJ Fun Prints. You can find her on YouTube and on Etsy. And let's go over to our project. Thank you for the sound check, Jamie. Appreciate that. So, this is a Pinterest inspired project, guys. I know that we had talked last week about embossing powders and heat embossing and embossing folders. And this week we're going to be using our Cricut to help us kind of sort of emboss and embossing folders and glittering techniques. Hi, Kathy Ann, yay. Hi, Sharon. So, I saw this card, I think it was on eBay, and then I turned around and I found it on Pinterest. So, I don't know which one actually sparked my interest in it. I believe it was eBay because that's where I was looking and I first saw it. And then the Pinterest also led to eBay. So, I know it was by the same person. So, I kind of took off of their design and changed up to my own little thing. And I wanted to make sure that I showed you guys the glittering technique because we had touched on it last week just a little bit. And let's see, what else do I need to tell you about this file? As always, if you have any design space questions or you need help with a project, it does not have to be the project that we're working on, guys. If you need help with a project, please put it in caps so that the moderators can see they can get you some help. And if we can't explain it well enough in chat there in YouTube, we'll come over to the screen and show you. So don't hesitate to ask those questions. And thank you to all the moderators, the Patreon supporters, the Ko-fi supporters, and of course our YouTube membership, channel memberships. We greatly appreciate you guys as well. Hi, Mia. So, in this file, you're going to find the card layout. Now, I did discover, and Jamie, you may know this, or I may have missed something. I have set your draw up for olive green. That's not what I used. I used the green gel pen, but for some reason, the green gel pen is no longer available under the gel pen. I don't know if they discontinued the green gel pen that came in the set, or I don't know. It's not lime green, it's just plain green, but I set it for olive green, I believe, in the file. Using the glitter gel because that was as closest as I could get to what I used. So I don't know. Maybe maybe it's just an oversight. They've got the green here and the green gel, glitter gel, but that's not the pen I used. Okay, so I didn't want you guys to get confused if you wanted your project to look just like mine when we go over there and show it to you guys. I did use it, and I will show it to you what I used. Okay. Other than that, you can switch out any of the writings or anything that we have in the file. This is a window that image that was in Design Space, and I kind of doctored it up, and you're going to see why and what I did to it. You're going to need this green piece, and you want to cut it out of the same thing that you cut your branches from, okay? You don't really have to draw this on there, but I set it as a draw in there, and I used it as a draw on mine as well. It's going to be covered up, so it's not a big deal. So, if you're not going to emboss this piece, of course, you can change that to score. It's going to help you line up your tree and get it in position where it needs to be. These are just tags, and I did not initially add this tag on there, but I had a boo-boo, and I left my boo-boo so that you guys could see it. So if it happened to you, you know how to fix it, because you know that I don't cover those things up. Crafting is full of mishaps or happy accidents, and we need to know how to fix it if it happens to you. So I'm going to show you that as well. I did not use these branches. Now I put these in here because this one will work, and then you can cut it apart in different places here. You can just cut these apart and use them, and they will work fine, okay? This one will also work fine. It's just a little thick. But if you are a Patreon or a Ko-fi monthly supporter, or you're on the QD collector or higher on the YouTube membership, you have access to the SVG of a branch that I used. Because the punch I use is discontinued. It was a Martha Stewart punch, and it no longer exists. But I found an SVG and PNGs and all that online. If you're a supporter, you can do that. You cannot sell it because I don't own the rights to it, but you can use it for your own personal use. Hi, Dolores. Yay! Make sure that you're getting your emails from Patreon. If you're a supporter on Patreon, Dolores, make sure that those are on, because I send out a message over Patreon for you guys, and I also posted in announcements. And let me, as a matter of fact, we're finished here other than this. These are this up here is your top wreath, and you may need more pieces. It's the same as this. I just welded some together and made them different sizes. But you may want to double or triple those up, totally up to you. And this is transparency, okay? And we'll cover all of that. But to answer your question, Dolores, you can always find it here as well. This calendar is always on the group announcements. And I always post the YouTube links under the group under the calendar. So when you go into Facebook and you go to the group announcements and you look at the August calendar post, you will see in the comments the link to the YouTube. Okay? And it's posted in there every week. Let's see. I'm just catching up on chat. Hi, Gerald. Gerald's joined us. Hey, Marianne. Hi, Miss Sheila. Miss Sheila's here. So that's the file. You have to be a monthly supporter to get this file, or you can actually set up your own. I did use Design Space Images, and I just doctored them up. So let's go to the overhead and take a look. Take a blah blah blah. Tongue tied. Take a look. Okay, Dolores, what it wants you to do is, because you're on the app on your phone, and you're going to need to log into your YouTube account in order to be able to chat and all of that stuff. So that's why it's asking you to log in. But if you just log in with your Google email, you should be fine. Because you can log in with Google, and it will, if you have a Gmail, just log in with your Gmail information and you'll be fine. You'll be able to chat and everything else. Hi, Jan. So this is the card, and again, like I said, let me just kind of adjust right here. This was, I saw it on eBay, and then I was looking on Pinterest, and I found it there, and I was like, I'm going to go ahead and do it. That's a sign if I see it in 2 places. So, so I've got my acetate in there, and again, if you don't have transparency, I use the non-printable for projects like this that is for overhead projectors, the write-on. You can write on it, but you can't print on it. That's what I use for these because it's very inexpensive. And it's kind of 3D, and your tree is 3D through there. I don't know if you can, let's see if it'll pick it up. But you could see it kind of looks like a real tree. So, and we've done some embossing to it, and then I have glittered the window sill. And you can see that. But it's not your typical glitter, guys. It's not like the glitter you get at Michael's and stuff like this. This actually kind of feels soft like velvet. Okay? And I'm going to show you those as well. Thank you, Gerald. And then on the inside, we did a Happy Holidays. Now, I've done my branches a little different. I may do them different on this next one, but I had some boo-boos I had to hide. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about some of the things that I used. This is the Martha Stewart punch, and it is discontinued. It's no longer available. That being said, if you go, there's a link to Amazon down below. If you look up holiday tree, holiday, now I've already forgot. It's a Tim Holtz die set. Holiday trimmings, I think is what it is. Tree trimmings, something like that. There's a die set if you had rather use those than you had cut them with your design space. And the reason I say that, guys, is you can see how many I have here. These are very intricate. It's going to take you a long time to cut them on design space. Okay? And you need, I don't know, it's going to depend on how you want your card to look. Now, I punched about 60 of these. I don't know if I'm going to use them all. I didn't count on my last one, but I punched about 60 of them. And I punched them in a matter of minutes with a punch. Thank you, Jamie. We Are Memory Keepers makes this punch now. So it's called Small Branch. Am I correct, Jamie? Small Branch? They may call it something else, but if We Are Memory Keepers has it, you'll probably be able to get it at scrapbook.com. There's a link down below on that. Okay? So you can get it. So if you don't want to cut it with your Cricut, but the thing about this punch, and I don't know if the We Are Memory Keepers does the same thing. I don't know if you guys can see it, if it's going to pick it up on camera. But it kind of curves it for you while it punches it. You just punch it out and it curls it all at the same time. Gives it that little bit of a curve on there. And that one just flew out somewhere. I don't know where it went, but you can see. But that's how easy it is to punch them. Okay. Now I did use Cricut Leaf Green for this. Cricut cardstock and Cricut White. You can use what you want and get those. I also added some Nouveau drops. I did some berries up here with my vintage Nouveau vintage drops in Postbox Red. So that's what I used there. And then I used some liquid pearls. And I used that in the white opal for decorating. Now you can use whatever you want. The main thing that you're going to want for stuff like this, and it does matter, guys, it's called Silk Microfine Glitter. And it is by Elizabeth Crafts. You can get it over at elizabethcrafts.com. I don't know of any other place to get it. It is not cheap. But you're going to see why it isn't. And I've even got some little pieces over here that I'm going to show you some other colors and how they work as well. But totally, totally worth it. It doesn't come off once you've got it on your card, and you're going to see some of the things that you can do with this stuff. You're going to love it. You're also going to need some sticky paper. And I get this, as you can see, scrapbook.com. It comes in different widths, different sizes. Guys, this will last you a long, long, long time. But it's super sticky, double-sided super sticky, okay? If you don't have that, and I don't know if this is even available anymore. I have had this for years. But it's called Sticky Sheets. And it's basically the same thing, except this is on a roll, and you can control and do your sizes. This is in sheets that you can cut down. They have grids on them, so you can cut it into the sizes that you need. To me, the sheets are a little easier to work with because when you roll it off the roll, it's sticky. But when you do your sheet, you have a protective on both sides. Okay? So if you're not familiar with working with something like this, I'm going to suggest the sheets rather than the roll until you get used to working with it. But I love them both. Okay? And I'm just going to do a sheet of green here so that you guys can see how to use this product. And I like to put my paper on the mat so that it holds it in place and it doesn't wiggle around on me while I do this step. And what you're going to do is you're going to cut it down to size, whatever size you want. So let's say that I'm going to use this 1.5, whatever it is, by 4. And I'm just going to go and cut it down using my grid. And you can run this through with your die cuts. If you have a Big Shot Pro, you use dies from Stampin' Up, any of the dies, Tim Holtz, Close to My Heart. You can use your dies with this. You just put it on your paper and then you run it through and your die comes out sticky, almost like a Creative Station, okay? Except you don't have to worry about doing all the little filigree holes and all that stuff. The next thing you're going to do is I place mine down because let's face it, Cricut's not going to cut that 1/4 inch, okay? So I kind of bring mine down, but you want to make sure that your paper is big enough because if it isn't, then you're going to have an issue. You want to make sure that you cut it right on there, okay? Because I did not. I was off just slightly. This is not it. This is my extra. And I have an area right here that didn't get covered when it cut. But I'm going to show you how to fix that if that happens to you. But once you put it on there, you put it on there just like that, then you just go ahead and cut your image. I cut mine on foil acetate, the Cricut foil acetate setting, and it cut right through, and it cut through beautifully. It cut through the backing and the cardstock. I got a little fuzz right there, but you can pull that off. So it will cut on the foil acetate setting. And if you've got a brand new blade, you might be able to do less pressure and still get it to cut. Don't unload your machine until you check your cut, because you're never going to get it to cut in the same place again. But that's how easy it is to use it. Now I can just cut this paper off and run it through with a die in my die machine, my Cricut Cuttlebug or my Big Shot, with a die, and it will cut that out, and then I just have to peel the paper and stick it right on. Now, if you're doing dies and word dies and stuff like that, you need to make sure you flip it over so that the adhesive will be on the bottom when you're doing dies. Okay? With your Cricut, if you're doing words or it matters and your image needs to be flipped, you need to flip it. Okay? Just almost like using iron-on. You need to flip your image when you're using this so that your adhesive will be on the bottom. Okay? Super important. Doesn't matter with this file because the window is the same no matter which way we turn it. Okay? So just so you guys know that. And we're going to go ahead. It doesn't take long to put this card together, so I'm going to go ahead and show you a couple of samples. I got some alcohol ink or something on that filter, but it's going to be okay. Just going to flip that over. Actually, yeah, I'll just use this. These are the cutouts from the windows, and they have the sticky on the back. Okay? And because the white is hard to see for that window, I am going to use a different color here just to show you guys. I don't want it to stick to my finger. See, this is the fun part, getting it to stay. There we go. that one. Your glitters, your microfine glitters come in different colors and come in different sets for different things. She has like the bloom, and then you have earth, and then you have beach. So depending on what card you're using, you might want to do the sets. This is Cool Diamond that I used on the card. It also comes in Warm Diamond, and there is a difference. You can't really tell it in the jar, but you can tell it on the project. So I'm just going to kind of just leave that paper there. And I'm using a color you can see. And I'm just going to sprinkle it right out into, there we go. Just like you did the embossing powder last week. Okay? And I'm just going to cover my whole piece of cardstock. And look at that. You see how that looks? We're not done. That's not the beauty of this. Then you're going to take it and you're going to take your finger and you're going to rub it. Rub it really good. And it's going to bring out that shine. See the difference? See where I touched it over here? And where I rubbed it? That's what's going to bring this stuff out. I tore my paper. Don't pay attention to my torn paper. But that's how you're going to get that to pop out. Now this is not even on a textured cardstock. Okay? And then the next thing I do is I take just a little brush and I just brush away what might be any excess, because you're going to get some on your fingers from where you rub it, but it's not going to come off once you've got it on there. And it's super soft, super shiny, super glittery. Okay? But that's what they do. They feel like silk, and I guess that's where they get their name. I mean, it's just really, really, really nice card glitter. Okay? Now you can use this with really thin glues or stuff like that, but you want to make sure that it's good and tacky. Hi, Paula. But guys, these products are just totally awesome. They're worth it. I mean, you see, I poured a ton out in there, but I didn't use hardly any of this. Now, I've had this for a couple of years, and I mean, I use it. And it's just not, you don't use a whole lot. You could do thousands of cards with this, okay? Thousands. So we're going to do, but don't throw these away, because you can use these for tags or embellishments or whatever on your, or if you got teeny tiny punches, you can take and glitter them like this and then punch little circles and stuff like that for accents, okay? We could use little circles of this and stick them on our trees for our windows. So tons of stuff that you can do with that. So now we're going to do our window, and I told you I had a little boo-boo where I have nothing down here. So what I'm going to do is I have some double-sided tearing tape. And I'm just going to cut that end off where it was in my drawer and got bounced around. And then I'm just going to take this tearing tape and I'm just going to lay it right at the base of that where I missed. I'm just going to let it overhang a little bit on the end. I'm just going to put it down on there right at the bottom, really straight. And you can do that with any project that may happen to with you. If it's shaped, use your tape runner. Make sure it's a solid tape runner and not a dot like this Tombow. It puts down a full line, not dotted. Where my close to my heart is a dotted runner. You want a solid runner, and then you can run that over the area. Okay? And then I'm just going to trim that off. So if you have boo-boos, don't throw it away. Don't feel like you have to cut it. Now, if you don't have the sticky stuff and you don't want to do it, the file is set up, and those score lines, it's not for folding, guys. It's just to give it that embossed look. Now, if your material's thick enough, if you're using a window, say you're using something in maybe like the what is it, the bronze foil craft board, you can use those score lines on there. Don't use the double, use the single, and it's going to give your window a little bit of dimension. Okay? If you're doing the glitter, doesn't really matter. You can just eliminate them. They do show up a little bit on there, so I left mine on. We're just going to peel away all of our sticky. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to do that bottom line first, just to help me out. We're just going to pour the glitter right over it. Make sure that your tapes and stuff are clean. Okay? Because that's where my other boo-boo was. It had been tossed around in a drawer and it got some trash on the back of it. And then and I stuck that piece of tape to my window. And then you have a mess. So I'm just going to dust that off. That'll give me something to hold it with while I do this other part. Happy accident. So I'm just going to peel off my sticky sheet there, and I'm just going to glitter the whole thing. Any places that may have been missed, you can just kind of dip in there. And you want to use a fresh coffee filter each time, guys. You don't want to contaminate your other product because it is microfine and silky, and it may look like you got it all, and then boom, you didn't. And you've contaminated your glitter. And then we're just going to rub it. Just rub that glitter in. Shouldn't have any sticky areas once you're done. Oop. Don't pull it towards you like I just did and kind of go away from you on something flimsy like this. But you can see how that brightened up, and I've got a little piece of cardstock that's stuck to my desk here. There it goes. And then if you have any sticky places, go in and just go back over them. I bent mine. Super, super pretty. I don't know if the camera is going to pick that up, but I mean, it's really gorgeous. And then we're just going to pour all that back in the jar. Try to get it all in the jar, not on the table. And then I'm just going to brush this off my work area. Super easy, super simple technique. Yes, you can use this in place of glitter or cardstock, Paula. If you can't find a color of glitter cardstock, sometimes finding colors is very difficult. But you can create your own with these, okay? And you want to cut your images first, that way you're just not wasting your glitter by doing a whole sheet and then trying to cut from it. Do it with the sticky sheets and cut your pieces and then glitter them. So any questions on using the microfine glitters? If you guys have any questions at all, just let me know. And then you're going to take your base and you're going to fold that, of course. And then we're going to use our bone folder. Yes, Paula, like I don't have any red glitter cardstock because I'm out. And I don't like to buy the multi-packs because sometimes I don't use any of the colors but red. So with this, I can make my own colors and make sure that I get the shade that I need. Okay, So that is one of the benefits of it. You can always make sure you get exactly the shade you need. And you can mix colors. You can do a little container and mix some of your colors and make other colors. So you can mix these, but you want to keep them separate from what your original jar. You don't want to contaminate your other jar. And then guys, this is a piece of foil cardstock that I had. This came in one of my Tonic Studio kits, and so I just opted to use that. But you can use the Cricut holographic foils. It will be just as pretty, or the silver foil, gold foils. And again, when you're using glue on foils, be careful. Make sure that your glue isn't too wet. Now, I know art glitter glue, it sometimes will bubble up the foil, but then it dries flat, matte, and clear. So I'm just going to put that down. And if you want, you can, I don't know, this has got a texture to it, and that's what I liked about it. It was very subtle. You can use some gray paper if you don't have any foil. Some light gray or a silver vellum. That would be pretty too. Yes, I made the window out of Cricut white cardstock. Okay, but before I cut it, I put my sticky sheet down on my paper, and then I cut my window, and then I could just peel that off and then glitter it. And I could have made it glitter any color I wanted to glitter it. I have like some brown glitter in here, down here. I could have done a brown window. So totally up to you as to what look you want and how you want to make your card. So while that dries, we're going to take this sheet in the file, and we are going to, I am using, let me put my pen in my glue, or we'll be sitting here watching me try to get glue out of a bottle. You're going to need, if you're using a Big Shot, whatever sandwich that you need to do your file, I'm using plate A, and then because this is a Crafter's Companion folder, it's a little thicker than others, I'm using a C plate in my folder and a B plate. Okay, I think that's what I used. I may have used just the A plate and the C plate. We'll see. But it is a thicker folder. I do not recall which folder this is, guys. It's the one with the poinsettias. Let me see if I can grab its container, if I have it really quick. I meant to get this out and forgot it. Ah, I just happen to have two of these folders. Haha. So, it's called Pretty Poinsettia. It's a 3D embossing folder, and these are thicker folders, so you're going to get a better emboss out of these. And I just kind of lined it up because it's smaller than my folder. I just kind of lined it up where I wanted it to fall, and then just close the folder on it, and then I can look at it and see my area, and that looks good to me. And I'm just going to place it. I did use just A and C, and I'm placing it right between. And then we're going to open up our cuddle bug, and we're just going to run this through. And I like to run mine through twice. Totally up to you guys. Hey, Pat. Yeah, we did glitter, the microfine Elizabeth Crafts glitter, and the technique for using that glitter. So then we're just going to open that up. And that just gives a little punch up on that page. Okay? I probably should have put this green on there and then ran it through. So if I were you guys, I would go ahead and add my green and then run it through, but it doesn't really matter. Either way you want to do it. Both will work. I'm just going to take and put a little bit of glue on my tree, or my triangle, I should say. It's not a tree yet. We're just going to pop it up there right in the lines. Oops, I'm going to trying to get it exactly straight. I scooted it right off of there. There we go. I'm just going to place that right in there. So that's where the lines help. If I had put score lines in there, my embossing folder would have taken it out, because I don't know if you can see on camera with this white paper, but it has all these fine dots and stuff in there like snowfall. Then we're going to take this piece, and I used a little bit of both on this, guys. I used my Tombow right down the center, and then I used a little bit of art glitter glue, and that's just to help hold it down on the edges, because sometimes when you emboss, especially with the 3D embossing, you have raised and lower edges and not everything catches. So I want to make sure that I have glue all the way around, and then I've got my tape in the center. And then we're just going to line that up right on there. Yeah, super easy. This stuff is super easy to work with, Pat. Super, super easy. And it's so pretty. It's different from your other glitters. So then we're going to start, guys. I'm going to go ahead and move that out of the way for a second. Going to use some of my Tombow or tape runner, whatever you have, right across the back. Just right there in the center. I want to hold those down. Just a little bit of glue. And the reason I'm using tape runner is I want my acetate to remain good and clear, okay? So we're just going to make sure we have this the right way. And we're going to line that up. And place it right down. Now, if you don't get it exact, you can just go in and just trim off any. I mean, it's just like a smidge. It's probably not even going to show. You can trim that right off. Okay? So now you have your window. We're just going to set it to the side for now. Bring our card back. And we're going to start layering on these leaves. And I like to start right here at the bottom. Not all of this bottom piece will show. And just start tossing on some of these greeneries. No rhyme, no reason, just toss in a few, just get them to stick. And that's the reason for the green piece, is so that you can layer these up and not have to worry about the white showing through and using like a gazillion of these. As you can see that the white does show through down at the bottom. And you can use your tape runner on these as well. So you can just run some tape runner on there. And then I start at the bottom and then work up and kind of layer the second layer over that layer. And I missed. I didn't go down low enough with that. There we go. And I'm just sticking the top end of these. Just sticking them down. You can come off the edge a little bit. You can come off the edge a little bit more as you go up. Just making your tree, you want to kind of check, make sure that it's staying in your window. You don't want to get it to go much further out than that. You have a little play area, but if it's going outside of this edge, you'll want to pull it up and re-stick it. I'm all tangled. And while I do this, yay, good, Kathy. Yeah, I shared with it Patreon supporters, Kathy, but it's super easy to recreate. The SVG is just for supporters. I'm going to kind of, and you can flip them over if you're getting a branch that's not going the way you want it. And again, keep checking, make sure that you stay, especially in this lower area, inside of your window area. Helps if you go the right way with that. And this may look a little uniform, but we're not done yet. We're going to do another layer, so don't worry about that. You just want to get that initial first layer in there. Okay, and this is where I go in and I start gluing a few. I just go in my bare areas, and I'm just going to dab some glue so it has a second to set up and start getting sticky and dry. Yeah, that guy didn't want to stick in the Tombow, did it? And then just going to run under and over, however I think they need to go. It'll take them a second to set up in your glue. I'm just catching up on chat, guys. And just keep filling until you feel like you've got a good amount in there and that it looks good to you. And then I'm just going in and making sure I have a few sticking up. That's going to give that 3D effect in the window. I don't know, I guess I used about, 30 or 45. I wasn't counting. But you can see how it's getting that 3D effect. That's what you want. I think I need one more right there. So the next thing you want to do is do your pearls. And I am not going to be able to stick my window completely down yet, but I have a little fix for it, just so I can see. But I'm just looking in my window here at my branches and seeing where I want my dots. And then I'm just making little pearl areas for the And you don't want to get too heavy-handed with these. It takes away from the card if you do. I think I got that one a little high, but I'm going to live with it. Maybe one right here. No rhyme or reason, whatever looks good to you guys. And then one right here. So then you have those in there. Oh, what the heck, one more. And you can use colors if you rather use colors instead of the pearl. That was good. I'm going to cover one up, but that's going to be okay. So I've got some that are sporadically in there, and then you're going to let that dry, okay? And they'll take about 30 minutes for those pearls to dry. And while that's drying, we're going to go ahead and work on our window. Now you can use foam tape. I'm using the thicker foam this week. Last week we used the thinner foam, and I am using the thicker one this time. And I'm just going across the bottom. Then I'm just going to come right here below that part of the window, not quite all the way to the edge. That's just to give it some support. And then I think this is 1/4 inch, and I think that's what those windows are. And I'm just doing a small piece on the side. I'm not doing the whole thing. You don't want to put it in the center. If you put it in the center, then it's going to be on top of your tree. And if you get off with the tape like I just did, you can just trim it off. No need to try to pull it up. Just trim it off even with the edge. There we go. And then at the top, I use 3 pieces here. Okay, then our window is ready to go on it once those dry. Okay, this is the top, this is the bottom. This big piece at the bottom is the base. So then we're going to play with some of our white ones. Now if you use the ones that I had in the file, I already welded those for you, and you're just going to layer them up. But we have to kind of be tricky with the ones we're doing here if you use the punch piece. Okay, and I'm just going to go, you can use art glitter glue, you can use your tape runner, but I'm just kind of going halfway, right here at this halfway point, and gluing that down. And you can get the shape that you want that way as well. I'm just going to go halfway of that one. I'm going to bring one in. And I think I want this one to curve down more than I did my other one. I had to hide an ink drop that I made on my other one. That's good. I cut extras in case I didn't like it. And then on this end, I'm going to do just right on that tip. I'm going to come in here, and I am flipping this over so that the branches are going the same way. And just going to glue those together. Halfway. Place that second one. And if you need your window to get an idea of how big your spray is, then bring your window over and measure before you start gluing. And then right here halfway on this one. And you could do a wreath too if you wanted to. You could do this with a wreath. You could do a door with a wreath. That would be cute. So that looks good to me. I just used 6 for that. On my other I used 8. But like I said, I had a boo-boo of ink right there. And I had to hide it. So I used more and did them differently. Because that glitter will not cover ink and stuff like that. It's very, very, very fine and translucent. Okay? So then we're going to need our bow. And I just used 1/8 inch ribbon for this, guys. This is way more than you need. Depends on how big you want your bow. Just did rabbit ear bow. That's all I did. 2 loops and tied them. And then I made it small. You could use red, white, silver. Any of those will work. That loop is twisted. Of course it is. I have glue all over my fingers. Oh, that twist is in there again. I'm just going to live with it. And then see if that's the size you want your bow, and that looks pretty good to me. It's getting there anyway. And then I'm just going to clip my tails off of it. Can always shorten them, you can't make them longer. So I'll wait until I get my card together, and if I need to trim more off, I will. And then you can use a glue dot, sticky tape. I actually just used art glitter glue and glued it right to the paper. And you can maneuver your little limbs around, get them where you want them, and then just do a little dot to hold them where you want. You could do these branches out of green and brown if you want. Tons of different options for this card. Hey, Ann. I'm just going to trim my tails off just a little bit more. Try not to scratch my transparency as I do that, or pull it apart. All right. So I know that my pearl drops are not dry enough yet, guys, so we're going to be pretending here, and I am going to bump up my tape. You guys don't have to do this. Don't do this step, because I'm just bumping mine up just temporary so that I can peel it back off just for the video. Okay, so do not do a double layer of tape here. I just don't want to set my window inside. On those pearl drops and ruin them. So this is just my temporary fix. That way I can peel it off and fix it. So once you have everything like you want and it's dry, then you're going to place your window. Okay. And I'm just barely sticking mine. Make sure your pressure is down good. And then we have our tag, or Let's Celebrate. And I did use my Tombow on this Cricut cardstock going to that foil, just so it didn't bubble up. Okay. And when you put this on, it is going to come down to the lower part of your card, and that's fine. Remember I said I had the boo-boo where I did that, and then I had a little bit of trash on my tape, and that's how I hid it. If you want to change yours, and I got it on that window anyway, but I can pick it off. It'll be okay when I take it off. So in order to make this fit and sit flush, you need to put your foam tape at the base, or a couple of dots. That's the end of that roll. Make sure it's in. So you want to do that on the base just so it's popped up. And then you can put glue at the top here, and then you're going to stick that down. I'm just going to temporarily set mine there because I don't want to do two pieces of foam, but then it goes right there. Okay? And then you're going to do your those. That's okay. I'm going to check, make sure it's flowing good. And then we're just going to do a few berries, and you can skip this part if you want. Totally up to you. You can use rhinestones, you can use pearls. Put them in any shape or form you want. And I did 3 gathered on the other one, and these I'm going to scatter out a little bit just to give some interest. My vintage red wants to be a booger. I think it's got a little bit of dried in the cap there. Remember where we glued those together? That's basically what I'm doing. It's a little bigger than I wanted and a little off, but I'm going to live. Handmade. No two are ever alike, right? So that's all there is to doing that card. That's it. And then you're done. Of course, you want to peel all of your tapes and stick your window down. I did get a little bit on this window just from that one there, even though I built it up. But when I pull this off, I can scrape that off the window, and it should be fixed. So I'm just going to make sure. I'm going to go in with my straight pen. Actually, I think I'm just going to take it off for now. And then once my drop's dry, I will glue mine back together. As you can see, got some on the window right there. Just going to scrape it right off. That way my window is nice and clear, and my dots are nice and... Oops, that's glue, April. Wrong one. Wrong bottle. Where I flatten that dot, of course the glue shouldn't hurt it. Should be fine. Where I flatten that one with the window, I'm just going to go in there and round it back up. Okay. There we go. But when you're done, you're going to end up with something very similar. Super cute. And then with the same green Happy Holidays inside. So it's a really pretty card. And it will fit a 5x7 envelope, guys. I'm going to move that before it ends up on my card. Does anybody have any questions? Any Design Space questions? Anything? I'm catching up. Let's see. Thanks, guys. I know there's a little bit of lag, so I'm going to just give it just a minute, make sure nobody has anything that they need help with on a project. I do want to come over and cover, because just before I came in, there were a lot of people having an issue with welding and attaching or grouping before sending it to the mat. So let's go touch on that real quick as a tip for the week, and then we'll wrap it up unless somebody has questions for something else. So let me go. Let's go over to a new project. I'm just going to replace because I don't want to do anything to that project. That's for you guys. Okay, so, and we'll use, they've been using the Babette font quite a bit, so let's go and pick that font. Not that one, I want Babette. Okay, so you're setting up your project. And making sure that your text and everything is like you want it. Some people have been having trouble going in and welding. If you're not getting your weld button or your slice button, you need to check a couple of things. Yes, you could use pearls on the trees, Sheila, you sure can. Pearls or rhinestones, make them look like little lights, Nuvo drops. But if you're trying to weld at this point, nothing's touching anything, so attaching will work. You can attach it all day long and it will do the same. Let's hit make it, and because I haven't ungrouped it, you can see I maybe need to change this color so you guys can see a color. It's hard to see that black. Let's go with green. Okay, so when I haven't done anything to it except type it out, okay? I've done absolutely nothing. If you're not getting the weld button at this point, you probably need to clear your application cache, or you need to remove Design Space and reinstall it. Something's stuck somewhere. So if I send this over to the mat after typing it, it's all going to come out and it's going to be just fine, okay? Not a problem. It's going to cut just like that. If I ungroup this, okay, and then I send it to the mat, look what happens. Everything is just all jumbled up, okay, because it wasn't grouped together. Now, if I come back, now that I've ungrouped it, and I select it all, and I group it, and I hit make it, it's still all jumbled up. And what happened is I took that font that I typed out and made it individual images. When I first typed it, it was a single image, a text image. And then I came in and I ungrouped it and I made everything single individual images. So that's why that's happening when people say, oh, you group it. Grouping is not the answer. Let me just show you the difference. You can see the layers panel here. I guess I should type it the same way I did before. And then you have this one. And see how this one is still all in one layer? Because I haven't changed it. I haven't done anything to it. Now I can weld it and it will be the same. Or I can letter space it in and it's going to stay the same. If I want all my letters touching, or if I need to use and you can see that this is too close and this is not quite close enough. So in order to get the same image and get it where it's supposed to be before I weld it, I have to ungroup it. And now you can see that it's all in different layers. Each letter is now an image where it was one image before. So if you're going to do that and you're going to come in here, you're going to select these and start moving them around. I'm holding my shift key and just sliding that over slightly. Just going to select that one, hold my shift key and bring it over. And now I want to select that and weld it. Okay, what happens if I don't weld it? And we're going to show you that if I attach instead, because everybody is saying, oh, you need to go in there and attach. Well, no, not really. Because when you're working with images that touch one another, if I go in here and I attach these, so I'm going to attach holidays, and I'm going to make holidays yellow. Here, I'm going to make both of them yellow. Okay, and you can see both these images, and then we have this one over here. So let's hit make it now and take a look. Now with my green one, it's still all jumbled up because I didn't attach it and I didn't weld it. So it's still all jumbled up. Grouping's not going to work once you ungroup and move them around and make them individual images. Over here, I did weld this one and I did not weld this one. And that one's not quite big enough for you to see. I apologize. Let me go back over, make these both bigger, because you need to be able to see it. And then let's make it. Okay, now we have it here, and you see right here I welded these. See where there is no black line at the P here? There's no line here at the A. There's not one here at the Y. Take a look down here. Holidays was attached. You see that line right there? And here, and here, and here, and here. These are all cut lines. So it means that the O is going to cut out of the L. And the L is also going to cut out of the O. Okay? The I is going to cut out of the L. The L is going to cut out of the I. All the way down the line, that's what's going to happen. And all these places where it touched, it's going to chop it all up. It's going to be in little bitty pieces because I failed to weld it. Attaching does not work when anything touches. So any of you guys that were in there on that post, on that thread, and were wondering what that difference was, this is that difference. So if you weld your image, can you go in and change it after that? Yes and no. If I go in here and I weld this, and then I weld these two together, now I have one image up here in the layers panel that says Happy Holidays. What if I wanted it to say Happy Birthdays? I can't go back and change it. This one I can go back and I can ungroup, or I can detach. Let me attach it. Now when I send that over, that's going to all stay in one place. It's going to stay together. Even though they're all individual images, they will stay together. But I can go in and I can detach, and then I can take this out and change this to Happy Birthday. We're just going to slide that out of the way. So I can change Happy Holidays to Happy Birthday without typing anything in over it. Okay, and then I can just bring this one out. I'm trying to get that one out of my way. There we go. So I can take this out and change it. Super easy, super simple. But if I weld, I can't do that because it won't let me unweld. Once you close out of a project, you cannot come back in and change this. I can hit undo until the cows come home during this project, but it's going to undo every step I made after I weld it. But there's an easy way to do it. You can come in and go to your contour on the bottom right, and we're going to remove some cut lines because that's what our image is. It's cut lines. And I'm just going to take out all of the cut lines down here at the bottom. And now I have my happy. I can go in and I can get my text and type birthday, do my letter space and bring them all in, get them like I want it, and that's what we're going to pretend I did. And then I can weld that. I can change its color to the same color I had before. And I know I didn't weld that like it's supposed to be. We're just pretending. And then I can bring that in and size it up and weld those two together and change my Happy Holidays text, and it tells you what font it is. I don't know if they fixed this to work on mobile yet. I haven't checked it. But if you right click in your layers panel and go down to, oops, I'm sorry. Oh, did they take it away from us? You used to be able to go in here and see your image and see what font it was. My image thing is gone. I think that might be a little issue that is popping up with the new desktop app. It's been glitchy. Okay. Usually you can click on it and right there on a right click and it will say image and it will give you the image info. Let me take this out and see if we can skin the cat a different way. Just going to save. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. It probably works on the web version. It's something they'll have to fix probably. So I can go here and it may tell me here. And it does. It tells me down here still that I use the Babette font. So you can, yeah, it was working. It didn't work for you the other day, Paula. It doesn't work on mobile, but it does work on, welded images and stuff in the web version. I think it still works. We can check it real quick. Let's see. This is the web version here. Let me just go to my projects. And see, down here I have it, and it tells me font Babette. It's just not showing up on the new version. Right here, image info. It's grayed out, but you guys can see it. So it will tell you, even after you welded. You are on your laptop. It's the desktop app, Paula, because it's being glitchy. Mine isn't showing me either. It's gone. The image info is gone, and I think that may have happened with the last 2 updates or so, because the web version is working. And that works with system fonts as well. When it's working, it works with system fonts. Yeah, it's the updates. So hopefully they'll give that back to us. A lot of us rely on it. I do. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes they fix one thing and 2 or 3 things break. They'll get it. It'll get there. I'm not worried. There's, like I said, there's always more than one way to skin the cat. Come up to your title where you saved it. Go down to your images and fonts, and it will tell you. It will not work on system fonts, I don't think, on that way. Let me save it and see. but it will work on your Cricut fonts. Yeah, it's not going to work on system fonts. Once you saved it and you went back, you were able. That might be the quick fix too, Dolores. Closing it out and then going back, that might fix it. Clearing application cache may fix it. So does anybody have any questions on Design Space or any more on weld and attach and group? Like I usually say, group is like a paper clip. Everything will move together until you shake that bag up, then that paper clip can come apart. That's your group. And then stapling is attaching. You can still get it apart, but you're going to have some staple holes. And then welding is permanent. All right, guys, thank you so very much for joining me tonight. Let's go over, take a look, the calendar. We will be live again on, if I can see it, it doesn't want to pull up for me. There we go. We will be live again on the 10th. I am taking the rest of this week to revamp and get all of my craft room back in order from the disaster of the Christmas in July that I made of it. And then Louise, or maybe it was Marianne, somebody asked me if I would do a craft room tour video. And once I get everything reorganized and set up, I will do that. And I will come back and we'll do a project on Monday. But I will try to get the tour video by the end of the week for you guys. So if you're having some organization issues and stuff before the holidays, that it may help you out. We are not doing the Facebook Lives at this time. I am working, they just ran new line into my subdivision so that I can get somebody outside of AT&T. So as soon as I can get that and get it done, we will start streaming on Facebook, YouTube Live together. Because I found out that some of the videos that I did live on Facebook are already vanished. They're gone. Can't pull them up. You can't do anything. So after a video has been up so long, Facebook gets rid of it. It just vanishes. And there's no way to get it back. So I like to do all of my videos on YouTube so you guys always have a way to refer back to it unless I do something terribly wrong and YouTube takes it down, which I don't foresee happening. So once I get that new internet, if it's able to handle it, because my internet right now is not strong enough to handle streaming Facebook and YouTube at the same time. It barely does make it by with YouTube on some days. Some days are great and some days are just horrible. Like last month, we had several videos that it would just drop the signal all of a sudden. You want to see a craft room tour too, Louise? I will get that done for you guys so that you guys can see. It's not very big. It's a tiny spot. You guys are going to be shocked at how tiny my crafting space is. Yeah, I prefer YouTube myself, but there are a lot of viewers who do like the Facebook, and I want to help them be able to view as well. So if I can stream simultaneously to both, then that would be a good thing to do. That will appease everybody, and they can see, and we'll get more views as well. But YouTube is going nowhere. YouTube will always be here for us. So. All right, you guys have a great week. Show me those crafting projects. Show me your version of this card. Pop it up there, and let's see what you do with this file. I can't wait to see what creations you guys come up with on it. Change that window to a door. Let's see some of your stuff that you got. Happy crafting!